We're back from Donington. It's now Friday because obviously Axel comes in on a Friday. Not obviously, but you know that now. So if you ever want to see Axel, he's here on a Friday and a Monday. This was the second outing in the Polo with our ownership. The first outing was fine, it was getting used to the car, but we had issues with the struts where we had loads of movement. We were going to send the struts back to AST, but they have been back a few times apparently over the same fault after I dug into it, so I thought I'd have a look at it myself. I've removed the strut, well, Julian removed the struts, we had them in the vice, and basically you can take the strut apart, so it's like an upside down damper, and there's like a brass perforated collar that the top part of the thick part of the damper sits in, and that had come all the way out of the strut on the near side, so that had completely removed itself. And then there's a little collar in the top locator that slots in, and that had come out of that side, but that had come out of this side as well. But the brass perforated collar on this side was further down in the strut rather than further up, so I don't really know what's kind of happening with them. So we put them all back. Anyway, the car, I did a second and a half quicker around the track than we did last time. The car felt a lot more stable. I was a lot more confident in the car as well. And that's not just from me getting used to the car, it was the car itself felt a lot better. We did have a few big moments in the car. I don't think we caught them on the camera, did we, unfortunately? But yeah, the gear linkage needs looking at because it's pretty much a stock gear linkage, but higher up. It needs to be nearer to me when I'm driving because it's too far away. And also, I'm going to change. It's got some standard bits on the linkage although it's got a short shifter, I think, of some sort. It's got the standard rubbers, and you can get brass inserts for that. So I'm going to do that for next time. I'm going to take the struts back out, go back to AST with them, and see if we can redesign something or make them work better. I felt like the car was down on power or lacking, so we took the DV out and we've changed the DV. It had a normal piston type DV in, and we've put the revision G in it. I don't know why it didn't have a revision G in it, to be fair, but it didn't. So it's normally the first thing we put in all the customers' cars. So I don't know why we hadn't got it in one of our own. So we've fitted that now. I don't know whether that was opening or not. Or the thing is, I had been driving the S1 in the morning, which is knocking on 480 at the minute, nearly 500 horsepower, whereas this is roughly 400. And then I got in this, and I don't know if it's because that car felt faster or what, or the other. There was a lot of quick cars there. There was lots of M2s, M3s, things like that. I felt like this car was lacking a bit, so I don't know. I'm going to check it over. We're going to actually dyno the car before we take it back to storage and just make sure it's okay. And then we'll take it back to the storage facility, Mulsanne, Sebastian's place. And then what we'll do, we'll leave it on stands there. He said we can do that. We'll take the struts out and we'll actually send them off to AST and get them to redo the struts. Then we'll put them back in the car and see what happens next time. But I want to go out in the car again, but I want to do those mods that I just said and make sure next time we can maybe make the car a bit quicker. The brakes are phenomenal. The only problems I was having was with the gear linkage, basically. I just couldn't seem to get out of fifth into fourth. I kept getting into sixth. I think it's just too far away. So it was just at arm's length. It was difficult to do it. So that's something that definitely needs sorting out. Anyway, the S1 was great. The only problem with the S1, as things never go right, I think the passenger drive shaft, there's not enough plunge in it because it's quite vibraty when you turn right. And obviously we've widened the track of the car and used Epitech shafts on the front, which they're designed specifically for a Mark II Golf with an R32 turbo engine in it, believe it or not, but they're about the right length. There's no other shaft that I can find that's the correct length and CV joint spline, etc., or beefy enough for the S1. So I'm going to have a pair of shafts made, I think, 10 mil shorter, or I'm going to measure the plunge. I'll take the CV boots off, measure the plunge on the shafts, get that right for next time. So it wasn't noticeable, like dramatically, but I did notice it, and I just thought, when I turned in, I thought, I could feel a vibration from that left front, and I think the shaft's, it's just too long. There's not enough plunge in it. So that was one bad thing, but this is what development's about, and it's what testing's about. The second bad thing was the actuator kept getting stuck on the turbo. We've had some problems with the actuators being stuck. We've now got a fix for that, and I'm going to put that actuator on this turbo. It's got a V5 on there. This has actually got a shortened original actuator on there. So, but I think the wastegates, when they get hot, they're getting stuck on some of the turbos. So we're going to fix that and then go back. There's a customer like the car. He's a professional racing driver. So obviously he came in and his first comment was, "It's awful," and I thought, oh, I've spent all that time. But what he meant was it could be fixed by changing a few things. So he didn't mean it was like the car's awful. He thought it was mega, but it pushes on in the corners. It's quite understeery. This doesn't. This pulls in. So this runs the same. This runs a gripper plated diff. That runs a gripper plated diff. It's the same. So we're going to take the box out of this before we go out next time and just service it. But I'm going to check the ramp angles, and whatever ramp angles are on this diff, we're going to put into the S1 diff so that it drives like this basically, although this is two-wheel drive, but then that will pull you into the corner more. The brakes are absolutely phenomenal on the car. They're absolutely incredible. So customer's really happy with that. He's happy with the way the car looks, which was, it was like that before it came to us. We're going to make a couple of little mods. We're going to paint the rear spoiler, this is the S1, paint the rear spoiler gloss black. The roof vent doesn't currently work, so there's a plate in there. We're going to remove that plate and get it to work properly. There's some bolts in that are really long. We're going to change the bolts so that looks nicer. We're going to put a pair of new Cobra seats in it with some Audi ring stitching and something else he wants writing on there as well. New harnesses for hands device. We're going to change the pedals in the car as well. Fire extinguisher we're going to fit, and we have, like, it came with a bit of a kit that they had, but there's parts missing, so I can't get those parts, I don't think, so I'm just going to buy another kit, put a full fire extinguisher kit in. In fact, we've got one out of his M3 E36 which was out of date, but we can refill that and use that for this because this car's not going to compete. So it's not out of, yeah, it just needs re-signing off. So we'll put the E36 fire extinguisher kit in the S1, sorry. And then what else is it, Axel? Can you remember what else you want? Oh, we're going to do the mirrors are black, they're going to be done red. The front bumper, we're going to block off bits that the vents that aren't been used, and then cut the rear of the arches out so that the air can escape out the arch properly, because at the moment it's just got black stickers as if that's cut out, but he wants them functional. The pedal response, so because when the car came to us, there was loads of wiring missing, not wiring missing, loads of buttons and control units missing, all sorts. So we've put it back to how it was, but it has a drive select on an S1. So I think the car's in Comfort or Eco or something, because the throttle response on the car wasn't right. So in dynamic mode, the throttle response is different, but there was no button or wiring for that. So we're going to have to probably get Stan from EcoTunes doing the software for us. So I'll ask Stan if he can just leave it in dynamic mode, or you can lock that out somehow in the ECU. I'm sure he'll be able to do that. And then I think that's it really. The list was not big. Oh, a new floor plate. It's got a carbon floor plate in there, but it's tatty. So we're going to put a nicer floor plate in there for him. And then the steering wheel. It's got a removable steering wheel. It's like an eBay one, not a real Lifeline one. So we're going to put a proper Lifeline one on that as well, and make it as good as it can be basically. And then he did talk about wanting a sequential box in there with paddle shift, but I got all excited. I got a bit of a boner, to be fair, when he said that. I was like, oh. But we'll see. I don't know if he wants that doing now or not, or whether he wants to do these other bits first. So, but I'll talk to him and see what he says about that. But although it was a good day, customers seemed happy, and if we can make it how he wants it, then that'll be really good. And then we've got to get his other cars finished now. So we've got the Texaco Sierra, that needs doing. The S1 rally car, the Group B car, needs a pair of cams in it because they had an oil leak from the rock cover, and obviously only came in to be checked over and mapped, but it needs the brakes bleeding because the brake pedal's crap. And we took the rock cover off to reseal it, and the camshafts are all worn. So it looks like they've either not been hardened properly, or when they were when the engine was built, it wasn't. You need to run them to harden them when you first run. I don't know if that was done or not. So it is what it is. So we're going to take the sump off and clean everything out, make sure there's no shrapnel anywhere in the dry sump system, and put him a pair of cams in that. And then his E36, the pistons are here now for that, so that engine can be built. Shh. Sorry, that was annoying me. So yeah, his E36 pistons are here, so the engine can be built for that now, and that can be then the map checked and tuned. That can be finished, and then the the Sport Quattro with the RS300, that'll probably be back here end of next week as well. So I'm going to have a workshop full of cage steel motorsport cars, which is fine for me. I love all their work, so that's good. What else happened on the day? Oh, Craig and Nathan blew up the Clio. They were going around all day, to be fair, then Craig was out in it. And what did he do? Did it chuck a rod out? It chucked a rod out, didn't it? So, but they had a lot, it's 550 quid for a new engine, so well done, Craig. Blowing up the Clio. But yeah, so they can fix that, and then I think we'll just book another day with those guys, and if they want to do it, it'll be a good day, won't it? And then we'll get the Polo out again. And then we'll put a passenger seat in the Polo this time, and then we can take people out in it and see if we can have a good laugh. So it'd be good. But that's it, basically. A good day.